You're scrolling through history videos, probably expecting another story about World War II. And honestly, who can blame you? Hitler, tanks, D-Day, atomic bombs, it's the Netflix of history. But here's the thing, almost no one talks about the first one, the war that set the stage for all of it. Because before the Nazis, before Pearl Harbor, before mushroom clouds, there was a single spark that turned Europe into a self-destruct button. World War I. Now, the story everyone remembers goes like this. One summer day in 1914, an Austrian Archduke named Franz Ferdinand gets assassinated in Sarajevo by a 19-year-old revolutionary named Gavrilo Princip. Bang! One royal car ride later, millions are dead. But that's just the movie trailer version. The truth, this war wasn't just one gunshot. It was a Jenga tower of bad ideas, shaky alliances, and old grudges just waiting for someone clumsy enough to knock it over. Let's look at the blocks. First up, alliance chaos. In the early 20th century, Europe had basically divided itself into two giant friend groups that promised, if you fight him, we'll fight you. On one side, you had Austria-Hungary and Germany. On the other, Serbia had Russia. Russia had France. France eventually dragged in Britain. Before long, it looked less like diplomacy and more like an international bar fight, where everyone shows up because their cousin got insulted. Second block, imperial ego. At the time, nations were hoarding colonies like they were Pokemon cards, racing for control of Africa and Asia. Pride and paranoia were sky high. Britain had the world's biggest navy, and Germany was desperate to build one to compete. France was still bitter about losing a territory called Alsace-Lorraine to Germany years earlier. Austria wanted to crush Slavic nationalism for good. Everyone wanted to prove they were the big kid on the playground. And the third block? Militarism. This was a new era of weaponry. New machine guns, faster trains for moving troops, chemical weapons, giant artillery cannons, all shiny new toys that nobody had really tested in a major war yet. Generals across Europe were itching to try them out, convinced that the next conflict would be quick and glorious. A spoiler for you, it was neither. So when Gavrilo Princip pulled that trigger on June 28, 1914, it wasn't just an assassination. It was the match tossed into a powder keg that was already stuffed with alliances, egos, and weapons. Within weeks, diplomatic letters turned into ultimatums. Ultimatums turned into mobilizations, and mobilizations turned into millions of soldiers digging trenches from the North Sea all the way to Switzerland. The Great War had begun. And here's the part we always forget. Without World War I, there is no World War II. The Treaty of Versailles that ended the First War, the humiliation of Germany, the economic collapse that followed, the rise of Hitler, all of it is Act 2 of the play that started in 1914. So yeah, we all binge-watched the sequel, but the First War, that's where the real plot twist began. So the next time someone asks you what really started World War I, don't just say, a guy shot an Archduke. Tell them it was a world already wired for self-destruction, all waiting for one unlucky royal road trip. Wars may start with bullets, but they're built long before the trigger is ever pulled. Hit subscribe before history decides to reload.